All right, thank you very much for having me here again in Philippines. It always excites me, especially with the food that you guys have. From your lechon to your sisig to all the nice food that we have. If I don't gain weight every time I come to Manila, it is impossible. So thank you so much for your hospitality. I'm Jerry from UC, and I come from Singapore and I govern the 10 countries within Southeast Asia and Asia Pac under the USEN Next Holding Group, which is a listed co in Tokyo Stock Exchange. Today's conversation is about you. So I would love to invite everyone on hand today, especially from our friends in the Retail Association Philippines and many other retail F&B industry players to join me in a conversation that we all believe could be interactive in the way that benefits the industry players themselves. So, the silent crisis over here. I have presented this fact in Indonesia, in Malaysia, some of the countries like Vietnam as well. So let me quickly come over here. So there are a lot of confusion with the business owners of a silent problem. What do we mean a silent problem? I share with you a little bit about LMKN in Indonesia. It is equivalent of the CMO or PRO like the ones we have in Philippines, like Soundscapes or Sounds Right. But so in Indonesia, they also have this. It has become a massive problem where people no longer play music due to the fact they are so frustrated to a certain extent, be it in Indonesia or in Vietnam, that they pay for a piece of paper and they rather not play the music at all. And even if they play alternatives. So there are a blurred line on what is the right sound to play, be it from a licensing point of view to how this particular brand should sound like. And then we have observed a lot of data coming from the retailers at F&B spaces. It's more than just silent, meaning no music. There are music, but it's the right sound being portrayed in that manner that we want to give the image and the brand persona to that particular retailer or the F&B. Because most of the time, you forget what you eat last week, the month before, but you don't forget how that place makes you feel. So from an emotional standpoint, we will explore the psychology beyond just a piece of paper, a piece of license that many industry players out here in Philippines and the Southeast Asia region are facing. Am I just getting a piece of paper or more than just this? Because there are solutions to be delivered, and the opportunity is how psychologically at different time of the day, different day of the week, and different audiences are catered to certain type of promotions. Let me give you some examples. So IKEA is a client of ours. So the music that is being played, we know that the target market is family oriented, but there are actually three types of families in this big retail player shoes. The first type of family is the young family. The young family who goes to shop and buy for their new house or for renovation purpose, usually no kids, or they might be dating as a couple. The second type is multi-generation families with the three generations, the grandkids, the grandfather, and then a son or daughter. So this is another type of target audience. And the third one is those with just kids. So different family orientation comes to IKEA at different time of the day, different day of the week. The pace of music, the tempo, BPM, beats per minute, to the type of genre of music being used are so different because weekend crowds are very different. And I think today's topic is very much purposeful. Do we want to have music to influence an audience, to give them the vibe and the feeling to put in the extra dollar or two in extra sale? Or do we play music without that purpose? Just because it's a popular song, just because you heard a radio hit on YouTube in a car, it is popular, and then we just go for it. That is the elephant herd mentality. So we will explore further on the science and also technology and psychology of human buying behavior as we go along the next few slides. So the myth of personal streaming, from the Spotify to the YouTube or MP3 players. I was speaking to John earlier on, and I just heard his sharing just now that there are still CDs being used. Oh my God, that is really ancient. So I have not touched a CD for a really long time. So if you have a CD with you, it's really a rare thing nowadays. So I think putting that into perspective is more of how you are able to control and manage a certain brand persona. Let's say, just for conversation's sake, you are McDonald's, you're KFC, you're Jollibee, for example, or a big retailer like IKEA. You want to control and manage the music to know how you look and feel like. It's the same as your dress code. When you are dressed up in a certain manner, it actually communicates what type of person you are, how you want to be seen as. Same as music. When you let the control goes out of hand to your staff, especially F&B and retailers out there, their managers, I like this soundtrack, I like this song. Imagine going to a Korean barbecue shop and listening to J-pop or even local songs just doesn't give you the feel. Or maybe going to Japan sushi place and you are hearing K-pop because K-pop is the in thing now. But the relations from there just doesn't click. Sometimes it is beyond words that you just don't feel right. So this is where we look into personal streaming, where you are not able to control the music as simple as it may look like, but you are subconsciously losing that vibe. In today's society, post-COVID, we are nearing 2030s in just less than 4 years time from now. Less than half a decade, we are going to 2030s. If you are still living pre-COVID days, then it's time for us to step into the current modern world to say, it's time to take control beyond just your Spotify, beyond just your YouTube music, or even MP3 players. Looking at the next slide, how do we create the immersive brand DNA? This is the job coming from Mike. He is the expert with the entire team on hand to create more synergetic background music. But it's not just music for the sake of music. There are other areas like frequency waves, and a very interesting story I just share with you that has nothing to do with the slide. And that is, in some parts of the world, in like Japan, and this is a real story by the way, there are 3 ways that people die in offices. The suicide rates are the highest in the world. People jump off the building, people die at desk, and also hang themselves in the toilet. This is true, this is real, and that is why we actually formulated in Japan office something called SDO, Sound Design Office. And we brought this concept to Southeast Asia, some parts like Malaysia and Singapore, healthcare industry, hospitals, rehab center, and put in frequency waves that make people happier. For one. Number 2, we put in CEO, CFO, CMO messages at the last Friday of every month to motivate, inspire for a good 5 minutes once a month. Because nobody read the email from the C-suite level. But when they hear the sound, 55387 comes into play. This is not a lotto number, but it's more of a communications, where 55% of your communications come from body language, 38% is your tone, and the 7% are the words that you say. So putting in the CEO, CFO, CMO message makes the message more firm up, much more impactful, and that is why sounds matter. Not only on the frequency part, but conditioning. Have you ever went to the Don Don Donki? Is there Don Donki here in Philippines? Don't have. But if you go to Don Donki in other parts of Southeast Asia, or even APAC, Asia Pacific, you will often hear the Don 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 Donki jingle everywhere that you go. And we are the people behind pushing it out through our technology. So this jingle is like classical conditioning. Whenever you hear something, it's like in I don't know, in the Philippines you have recess bell ring for your tuck shop for kids. You know, when that bell rings, it means something. Change of a class or change to a break period in recess time. So it's classical conditioning. And we also have things such as punctuality to do with this conditioning, because imagine at 9 a.m. in a retail or F&B setting, or even in an office setting, when at 9 a.m. there's always this sonic logo, and you come in at 9:01 a.m. as an employee, and you never hear that, I don't even need to tell you that you're late. You know you're late. After lunch, you're supposed to come back at 1 o'clock. You come back at 1:01 p.m. You know you're late. And this actually helps, improves the punctuality. So there's a lot of science when it comes to music psychology that can be so applied to many spaces, but again, with the purpose in mind. So from BGM sending digital signage, I think it's a combination of sensory experiences that shapes how we want to communicate in different aspects, because different colors, different sound bites give you a very different curated experience. In fact, continuing on my story on the healthcare sector, beyond the office under sound design office that we have in Japan, is in this arena of hospitals, they have one big problem. And that big problem is the staff turnover rate of nurses. Many of our nurses in Philippines, from Malaysia and Singapore, comes from Philippines. And the staff turnover rate is so high because of the immense stress level. The patients, I don't eat medicine. I want to go home, or I want to continue staying here because got people taking care of me. It's so stressful. But the rejection from medicine, especially the seniors, the elderly, it is so painful. So the part about conditioning, whenever you hear a certain sonic logo, means it's time to take your medicine or your supplement. So from there, the struggle coming from the patient to the nurses has been brought down drastically. Staff turnover rate actually improves. And secondly, visitors who come to visit the hospitals, they were being upsold. Because when they look at their relatives, their loved ones on the hospital bed, they will think, I wouldn't want to be in this state. You know why? Because there's a health checkup promotion going on the airwaves. So the hospital actually upsells this promotional package and being engaged just at the 2-hour visitor window mark. Otherwise, you'll be irritating the patients every day. Right? So there is a purpose to it, and I think we will come more to it when we have certain conversations that are customized and personalized to each and everyone's needs. So from the curated BGM to promotion, revenue boost, a story that I'd like to share further. In Japan, we have an A/B testing for this very, very popular bread shop. 200 over outlets Shops that belongs to part A plays just normal BGM music, but the other one, they play BGM music with Christmas songs and a voiceover promoting Christmas log cakes. As subtle as you may seem, nobody's going to hear your Christmas log cake promotion and then buy more. The sales increased by more than 20 over percent, almost one quarter. From a sales perspective, as a retailer, hotelier in the HORECA industry, I don't think anybody mind to have higher sales. So when it comes to this angle of putting it through to say that voiceover does help sales with the right BGM, and out of 10 people who bought the log cakes, only 10%, that means only 1% in every 10 noticed there was a voiceover promotion about log cakes. The other 9, no, I never hear about it. So you would think, is background music and the voiceover actually helping me? In fact, if they happen to listen to the music and listen to the voiceover, I'm so sorry, we did not do our job well. Because this is supposed to be subconscious, it's supposed to weave in magically from the team, like what HOMONYM is doing. And this is very, very highly valuable when it comes to putting it into a very smooth space and not right in front of you, in your face type of situation. So these are some of the examples that we have. I think it's highly Googleable, especially from the Europeans and American companies. But because we come from Japan, Singapore, research base is extremely high. And it's also very, very exciting when we have our own papers being developed, and there are a lot of theories that we look into, from how we put the familiar upbeat hits to having certain tempo being played in the F&B and the vibes they put in the hospitality sector. I leave it to your own reading pleasure as we move on to the next slides. And this is more on the local festive playlist. It's very common in Philippines to have Christmas super early. It's the only country that we are doing in the entire world that starts from September. Wow. People in Philippines really, really love Christmas a lot. And that only means one thing. It brings money to retailers and also the F&B and hoteliers out there. Otherwise, there is no purpose to create that festive mood. But sometimes you may see, why Shop A is playing this under the same brand and Shop B is not? It's because technologically wise, they are not synchronized, they are not speaking to each other. The management and control of the sound bites are just too manual. In today's AI world and high-tech world, I think if we don't engage in automation, we are losing out with doing manual work. And to be efficient, productive, automation works at its best. But of course, the people behind it are very important. And from a management point of view, from Mike, myself, example, where we look at a customer's side of things, I think it's important for us to have a single press of a button and have all the music in all the shops under brand A be playing at the same time, including their promotions. So from the different type of playlists that we have over here, I think they can be very customized to the aspect of what you want the participants or the people, the shoppers that is dwelling in the shops be experiencing. Next slide. So we spoke quite extensively. There are more stories, more case studies, A/B testings. It will be exciting to do one in Philippines this year if we could. But if there is any opportunity, you just want to do some test bed, I think we would be happy to work together to implement some of these experiences we pick up from Tokyo, Japan, and in Singapore, and apply them in Philippines. So this is where we are. We are in Tokyo Stock Exchange Company listed under the Unix Holdings group. And the next slide you can see very quickly is who we are, what we have. In fact, we are the world's biggest background music company. At this is slightly outdated on 750,000. We have already hit 800K as of the most recent numbers. And understanding the purpose and psychology behind a human buying behavior is so important, because at the end of the day, cost is constantly escalating. How do we make people buy an extra cup of coffee, an extra piece of clothing, and still like you while they spend? I think that itself has a lot of science and the art in curating the right feeling and ambience. And I would love to talk more later on at the round table, as we have much more insights to share in practicum level. That you have questions, please feel free to have them written down and ask later on. So I think I come to my last slide, and thank you very much for your time today, and it's a blessing to be here. I would definitely not be able to do just sound, sight, and sound, but this is the taste bud, and I want to contribute to mic pantry. So if anyone want to join us for a drink later on, we have quite a lot. Yeah, I think. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.